All right, guys, let's jump right into it. Safety first. Got my dirty car. And today we're going to be talking about another 5 mistakes people make when detailing a car. Let's get right into it. Before we start, let me just tell you what I'm using. So, a lot of salt everywhere. I'm going to be using diluted all-purpose cleaner. This is an alkaline all-purpose cleaner. I'm going to be spraying sort of the bottom half of the car and then layering rinseless wash on top of it. It's just going to help break up a lot of that road film and stuff that's at the bottom rocker panels and the bottom of the doors, and then rinseless wash. It's just going to help further break down all the other things before we go to the rinse. So there we go. Do the windshield too. Why not? Gets a lot of stuff on it. A little bit on the hood. Originally, I wanted to film this 3 days ago, but someone hit my car and I've been a little discouraged since. Nothing crazy, but there is damage and it was a hit and run. Person didn't wait 1 minute for me to come out of where I was to give me their information. So police was called, filed a report. Now myself and the insurance company were waiting to see if the other person is going to be found. So I walked out of where I was and I saw that the rear quarter panel of my car was clean of dirt because some other car rubbed up against it. And yeah. We're going to give this a few minutes to settle and we'll get right into it. So anyway, if you hit someone's car, just wait. Leave a note, your phone number or something to contact. It is against the law to hit someone's car and drive away. And if you're in Canada, Quebec, and use the demerit point system, it's 9 demerit points for a hit and run and at least $600. So it's not a joke. You could lose your license if you have a few points already racked up. Anyway, number 1, going straight for the 2 bucket wash method. I've never been a fan of this method. I don't understand it. In principle, basically you have your wash bucket and you have a rinse bucket, and you take your soap, you soap the car with your wash mitt, then you dunk it in the water bucket, which is your rinse bucket, and then you put it back into the soap. Now, after 2 passes, the rinse bucket becomes really dirty, and then you're going back into the soap. So you're rinsing in dirty water and then going back into clean soap. I've yet to hear someone's explanation on why that's good. In theory, what you would need would be 20 wash mitts in 1 soap bucket, and then just after 1 pass, you throw the wash mitt away and use a clean wash mitt. But that's like an insane amount of money for a wash, and that's just a waste of time. So my preferred method, instead of the 2 bucket wash, is doing a chemical, then you rinse the chemical, you spray the chemical back on, and then you go in for your contact wash. This replaces the need for 2 buckets completely. The first go is a stripping chemical, a heavy cleaner, or something that's just going to remove a lot of the dirt and the grime and the abrasives that's on the car. You strip it off, You rinse it off, then you apply the same product or a high lubricating soap or rinseless wash on the paint, and then you go your contact wash from there. So the bucket might get a little brown, but any form of abrasive, any sort of little sand or rocks or anything that's going to scratch the car when you go in for the wash is going to have been removed on the first go. So you don't need 2 buckets. You just need to appropriately clean the paint before you get into a contact wash. So here it's called chemical rinse chemical, right? It's just something, the words that I got from Ivan from DIY Detail, but they've been doing this in the UK for a while. They're really heavy on their pre-wash treatments, snow foams that actually clean. They don't just lubricate, they're high cleaning snow foams. So that's basically it. You don't need a 2 bucket. You just need to clean the car before you even touch the car. Okay, and you do that with the chemical pre-wash, alkaline degreaser, whatever. Try it out, see what works for you. You could even just use a rinseless wash. If it's really not muddy or too much road grime or anything like that, just use your rinseless, spray it off with the rinseless on again, go in for your contact wash, and go into dry. So there you go. So in my bucket, I have rinseless wash 256 to 1, and then I added maybe about 1 ounce to 2 ounces, probably 2 ounces is too much, of Car Pro Reset, a really good, strong car soap that's going to help remove whatever's left on the paint. The second thing is using low quality drying towels. Now there's a few stages of the wash, right? First you rinse the car, and some people do chemical rinse, right? You rinse the car, you wash the car, you rinse the car again, and then you dry the car. So that's the basic stages of the wash. It's basically the non-contact part, the contact part, the rinsing of all the chemicals, then you're left with just water. So as we know, water is a solvent. It's not a lubricant, right? So that means water doesn't help glide your towel across the surface to remove, the water and the residue, right? So if you're not using a rinseless wash and you're just left with water, then some people use a chamois, the old-fashioned chamois, right? So some people use a chamois, and some people use, microfiber drying towels, but like low quality ones. So you spend a lot of money on your car, you buy the good soaps and all that stuff, and then you buy a low quality drying towel, which will only help scratch the car. Not all microfiber is created equal. Some is made here, some is made in Korea, some I think is made in Japan, some are Chinese, but the really good ones are the Korean blends of microfiber. Those are like, the trusted ones. Obviously there's some kind of everywhere and a lot of companies, and they source from different places. So all that to say, you just want a high quality drying towel. It's going to make the absorption a lot better, a lot more seamless. You're going to have to pass over the surface less times. If the towel isn't good and you're there for 10 minutes drying the same thing, you're eventually going to be putting in these nice straight line scratches in the car, or circles, however you do it. So having a really plush, really absorbent, high quality drying towel is essential. 70-30 blend is sort of where I would be. Like I said, water doesn't lubricate. It's not a lubricant. It's a solvent. So if you're only using water, especially if you're only using water, you need a really high quality microfiber drying towel. Now, if your car is coated with a really nice slick ceramic coating and you're using DI water, then after your wash, you can basically rinse the soap off the car with your deionized water, and then you could let it dry, or you could blow dry it however you want. You don't even have to touch it. So that's one way to get around not scratching your car during the drying process. But not a lot of people have DI water tanks. Those are pricey. They don't last forever, especially the more you use it, the more you use up the minerals. You're gonna have to replace it more frequently. If you're washing a car with it or many cars with it often, you're gonna have to replace it more often. There we go. It's been a long time since I washed it. A long time in my books. At least a week, maybe 5 days. So this leads me to my third point, which is not using a drying aid. Now, like I said, water is a solvent. I'll say this again. It's not a lubricant. So when you pass your towel over just water, there's nothing lubricating the towel on the paint when you glide over it. When you're going to dry the car, there's nothing lubricating. Soap is a lubricant. So you're hardly ever going to scratch the car during the wash process if you do the steps properly, because it's so lubricating. Even if you pick up dirt, it's going to glide across the surface. Now, if you're using excessive pressure, then for sure you're going to scratch something. But if you're just doing a regular maintenance wash, like you do every other time, you're not going to scratch it during the wash. You're going to scratch it during the dry. So what you can use as a drying aid could be any number of spray waxes that could be applied wet. Because if something is formulated to be applied dry and you apply it wet, let's say when you're finished drying, there's going to be a lot of streaks everywhere. The product is not going to be uniform. It's going to be difficult for you to see, where you need a buff. And anyway, just use something that's made to be used with water. That could be bead maker. It could be a detail spray, or it could be my favorite, rinseless wash. So basically, all of them are going to act as a drying aid because they all lubricate the surface when you pass a towel over it. So that's it. Use a drying aid. It's going to help the water be absorbed into the towel, and it's going to lay down protection. So let's say you already have foundational protection on the car, or you don't. Then every time you wash the car, or every other time, use a high quality drying aid that has protection in it, not rinseless wash. That's not a protection. That means every time you wash your car, it's going to be protected. And if that's all you really care about, then there you go. You don't need to ceramic coat your car. Just use a spray wax every time you wash it. You won't have the same effects as a ceramic coating, but the properties will be the same. Water repellency, self-cleaning. It's going to lower the risk of scratches because things glide off the paint easier. You can use it on your glass too. There's going to be a Rain-X effect on the windshield when you drive in the rain. All right, the fourth thing. Detail brushes. Those really tiny ones. They look like makeup brushes, really long handles, really thin brush, few amount of bristles. For Instagram, that's really cool. Everybody loves to see that. But for practicality, it's not always the first tool that I'm going to jump to. Now, obviously, I have detail brushes. Work stuff, I have some from MacShine. I have this really thick one. But detail brushes is not the one that I'm going to jump to. I'm going to jump to something like a scrub pad, something that has a larger surface area. Or like I said, my brush like this. Now this is like 10 detail brushes in one. So if I'm cleaning a door panel, I don't need to go, na. This is another one. This one is just really soft. There's barely any resistance. So you could see the difference. I use this one 99% of the time, and I'll have something like this just in my pocket or on the side. So I'm going to be passing, doing the whole door, lifting the handle, cleaning the handle, doing the whole thing, and maybe like under the buttons. I'll just push this a little bit just to get under the buttons, or just where the handle is, put that right there, and then I'll continue with the big brush. You don't need to waste your time with this. This is really just a tool for TikTok or Instagram. People who do this professionally, who don't want to spend 4 hours cleaning one door panel, they're going to use something like this, or a Scrub Ninja, or some form of scrub pad. It's really it. So this is really cool. The last thing I want to talk about, so number 5, is not having an air compressor or not using compressed air to clean a car. Now, compressed air is a cheat code for interior cleaning. There are tons of videos that you can watch online of how to use compressed air. You can watch some of mine that I've done, where I showed you my step-by-step of cleaning the interior, even door panels and steering wheels and center consoles and all that stuff, even some of my shorts. But compressed air will help blast a lot of the dirt away into the towel or just out of the car so that you don't need to waste all of your time vacuuming a carpet. You can just agitate it with a tornador and then vacuum up whatever came up. So this is like a regular air gun. Okay, so it just blasts air straight forward. So if you're cleaning a polisher, a pad, then you could like clean out the pad pretty well with this. You know, you can do in between the seats and the center console, where your seat goes back and forth, where the rail is. You can do under the seats. You can do all sorts of things. And a step up from that is something like this, mini tornador. So this has a little straw in it, and it spins basically in a tornado fashion, hence the name tornador, right? Connects to an air compressor. Now you need kind of a strong air compressor, something like, 5 CFM, 90 PSI, something like that. So those little pancake ones, they'll probably work for 3 seconds and then the pressure will die down. You need a decent amount of pressure. This probably works with less pressure. So if you have a smaller air compressor, then this would be something that you would use. But otherwise, the mini tornador for me is like super awesome. You don't have this really big cartridge here in the handle. I can get in between the seat and center console. I can blast out chairs with this if they're fabric. You can see all the dust go everywhere and collect it after. You can take a dry carpet out, put it against a wall, and just blast it with this. It's gonna agitate all the fibers everywhere, then you can vacuum it out. So compressed air is really just another cheat code. Just like how this versus this is a cheat code for this. This is a cheat code for interiors and even pad cleaning. Now, I will be using a spray wax, but I'll also be using rinse this wash just a little bit as my drying aid. I just want to make sure, because it was really dirty, so I just want to make sure that if I missed anything, I'm not going to be scratching it in the drying process. And rinse this wash is really good at breaking up some of that water tension. So there you go, nice little light layer of rinse this wash everywhere. Just going to be applying a little bit of my spray wax, which is also just going to help break up some of that surface tension. Let it sit for a minute so it can start to bond, start to do its thing. It smells fantastic. Someone said recently that the music I was using in the background, which was classical music, and even just a nice little light tone just for the background ambiance, was putting them to sleep. No music this time. Just the sound of my voice. And as per usual, a few sprays into the towel. Just gonna help prime the towel. Put it down, dry the car. Boom, done. So, no secret there. So there you go. I'll continue to dry it off camera. You don't need to see me drying the car. If you guys like this kind of stuff, I try to make today's video a little bit shorter. It's not hopefully going to be 30 minutes. Though I don't mind, but the tips today were kind of like short bursts. They weren't really in-depth topics. So, you know, not using 2 bucket wash method because you don't need to, a waste of time, waste of money. Getting low quality drying towels, get yourself a nice plush microfiber drying towel. Use the spray wax when you dry. It's going to lubricate the surface. Just continuously keep your car protected. It's going to be slick and shiny forever. Fourth one is don't waste your time with those tiny little detail brushes. Get something that's a little bit bigger for the interior, a scrub pad, a scrub ninja, or a really, really, really big microfiber brush like that. You can just go, like you can just mow through the surface really quickly. You don't waste any time. There's no point in wasting time. Unless you really just want to enjoy the process, you get yourself the tiniest brush that you can find and you just have at it. And the final tip was invest in an air compressor when you can. Ideally something that's 90 psi, about 5 CFM, like that it can withstand the use of a Tornador or just an air gun, but you just buy what you can. So those are the 5 things that you can do to speed up your process, make your detailing a little bit better, a little bit more efficient, and a little bit less pricey, except for the last one. That's just another tool to buy. If you like today's video with no music in the background, you let me know. If you prefer something that has like classical music or just a nice tone in the background, then you can let me know that too. If you have any questions about detailing or comments about any of the things that I spoke about or any of the processes or any of the tools or products I use, just let me know in the comment section down below. If you have any future video topics that you'd like me to cover, you can let me know that too. If you enjoyed the video, click the like button. If you want to see more of these videos, hit subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching, guys. Take care.